Are you feeling out of control with your food? Are you binge eating to the point where you feel like nothing can satisfy your hunger? If you're feeling like you can't stop eating even if you're full, you're feeling out of control with food, or you're feeling like you don't have any fullness cues at all, you might be struggling with binge eating. Today, we're going to chat about some of the things that might cause binge eating and 5 things that you can do to help reduce and entirely eliminate binge eating altogether. My name is Shena, and I am a registered dietitian specializing in the care of persons with eating disorders. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely click that subscribe button below. I drop new episodes every Wednesday, so definitely click the alert button so you don't miss any new episodes. So let's dig into what causes binge eating and why you might be struggling. So all binge eating comes from some sort of scarcity or food restriction. And this can be an actual physical scarcity or a history of physical scarcity with food, such as having low socioeconomic status and limited access to food as a child, or mental food restriction. Unfortunately, when it comes to binge eating, a lot of us are simply trying to white knuckle it, will ourselves out of a binge by sheer determination, or restrict our food after a binge. Unfortunately, these anecdotes are actually the problem that is causing binge eating. So I like to describe it much like the white bear phenomenon. If I say to you, don't think about binge eating, don't binge eat. Unfortunately, that's probably the thing that's going to preoccupy your mind throughout every meal and snack and create somewhat of a Last Supper phenomenon where we're feeling like we need to have all of the things because we're going to be restricting our access to food in the future. So this is often what causes and prolongs binge eating behavior. So instead of trying to white knuckle it and outwill yourself from a binge, here are 5 things that you can try instead to help reduce and ultimately eliminate any binge eating behavior. Number 1, change the environment. Binge eating often revolves around routine. So try changing the temperature in the room. Try changing where you're having those meals and snacks. If you're eating in front of the television, can you bring it to the table? Even if you're not bringing it to the table all the time, can you bring it to the table during those times when you're most likely to binge eat, say in the evening hours? Number 2, set up a regular schedule for meals and snacks. Setting up a regular routine for meals and snacks lets your body know that food is coming and that it can trust you. Make those meals and snacks robust. So for a meal, we should have something with carbohydrates, fats, and protein. And for a snack, we should pick 2 of these. Try for 3 meals, 3 snacks a day. If you find yourself still engaging in a binge, likelihood over time is that you're going to reduce and eliminate those binges, or they may not be quite as intense as your body learns that it can trust you. Number 3, shake up the binge by adding in new food choices or a new routine around that binge. So for example, if you're typically finding yourself really staying to one food type during a binge, perhaps a food that you've been craving all day, thinking about all week, etc., can you add something to that food choice? So for example, if you're wanting to binge on pizza, can we also add in salad, a dessert, etc., to kind of shake up that monotony of the binge? A lot of times binges are prolonged because we are simply becoming monotonously attached to one single food choice. So let's add in more to that meal and make it more about the experience and a little bit less about the binge. Another thing we can do is to set in motion mealtime behaviors that might break up the binge. So for example, if we're finding ourselves having the urge to binge on pizza, stop at a certain point, perhaps add in a dessert to break up the routine. The third thing that we can do to break up a binge is to set in stopping points. For example, we might go for 1 portion, 2 portions of food, and then we might challenge ourselves to take a 20-minute break before going back for that food choice again. This really just breaks up the monotony and shakes up the routine of the binge. Fourth thing that we can do to try to reduce or eliminate binges is actually plan a binge. Binge at a certain time of day so that your body knows that the food is coming. This can really help in those initial stages of trying to recover from binge eating, because our body now feels safe and it's not in that restrictive or Last Supper phenomena. Fifth thing that you can do kind of goes alongside with planning out the binge, but it is to push off a binge for 5 minutes. So again, shaking up the routine. Believe it or not, binge eating often comes with a lot of rules. So it might come with limits around the type of food that we're having. It might come with a prescription for how much food that we can have, or it might come with restrictions around when we can eat. All of these things are food restriction and they are going to exacerbate a binge. So we're going to try to shake up the routine around the binge rather than try to not binge altogether. The thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to white knuckle through a binge. We don't even want to try to stop a binge. We just want to create a different relationship with that binge eating behavior. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend.